Alright, hello and welcome back to Ashgabat Cat. Bet you thought you wouldn't hear those words in a while. Anyway, Capcom recently released a really cool arcade collection. There are 30-something pretty cool arcade ports, and, I mean, just looking at, like, the visuals here, now I've set it to this mysterious scanline filter. Oh, I thought it was going to go through the intro scene. Well, we can talk and play. Oh my. Why is this button not doing anything? Well, this is a great time to show off the option screen. So in the option screen, you can remap your controls. Oh, I see. Already off to a great start, but what can I say? This is the Ashgabat Cat you know and or love. Unfortunately, you can't do both. And, well, what better game to start things off on than with Vulgus, a game that I've never heard of. The stakes are fairly low, and what'll matter if I do a bad episode of this one? Probably not, honestly. Got a nice, tuned-up arcade controller. Let's do this. That's right, I upgraded from the other old Mad Catz SE, the Wii Fight Stick I used to use. I've updated that. And then I updated that again, because we have been in quarantine for like a year now. Yo, you better believe that my hobbies are starting to get hobbies. Let's talk about the game just a little. So Vulgus is what seems like your standard shoot 'em up, although I will admit there's just something to this game that... Yeah, I have autofire. Why am I pressing the button? There's just something to this game, like there's just a certain smoothness to the controls. Now maybe that's just because this is a really good port of everything, but I don't know. I've played some Capcom shoot 'em ups, like X-X's, some old Capcom shoot 'em ups, and X-X's is, I mean, there's nothing much to say. It's just not a very good game. Whereas you play this game and it's like, I don't really have a feel for whether this is a good game or not, but I can tell you it's not a bad game. And sometimes in the arcades, that's all that matters, because, I mean, you're putting in a quarter. Okay, fine. 1 quarter, that's fine. That's fine. You put in a quarter, you can put in a quarter here, there, anywhere, it doesn't matter. But your second quarter, that's where they make or break your interest. And so we'll see. Is this game worth the second quarter? I'm already telling you right here and now. Yes, of course. This is a pretty good game, actually. No, admittedly, I was not expecting all that much from, like, playing the oldest Capcom game on this collection and working my way through chronologically. But this game is, I don't know how to say this, but it's actually very good. I mean, here I was expecting like X-X's level of quality, but at least Capcom wisely has decided to set a minimum minimum quality standard on this collection. Oh, is the background supposed to be flashing? Yeah, I don't think this is any sort of weird capture artifact. I think it is just flashing. I mean, you gotta make space feel dynamic. You can't just have a bunch of random pixels out there. That's not how you depict space. You need a bunch of random flashing pixels. That's how you depict space. Wow. The action has somehow gotten more intense while not actually getting all that intense, quite honestly. It's kind of an easy game. But here I am playing on score mode. If I die, my game ends. No more score. It's not quite bullet hell level of gameplay. Oh my gosh. This game is like, it's so difficult for being so easy. I mean, you look at it, like, the enemy shots are moving at the speed of molasses. Oh, they got me. But like, the enemy shots are not moving that fast. Like, there aren't that many enemies on screen. Like, they're not going specifically for me, and yet somehow they found a way to just kind of... Oh. Well, I seem to have done quite well for myself. One thing I especially like about this Capcom Classics collection is that you get kind of a relative standard for, like, oh, I got all that Caspo, but I didn't even beat the ranking threshold. Okay, now let's try playing, see if there is a, oh. None of my controls. Sorry, you guys, but these controller settings, I thought I had this set up before, and then I accidentally mapped the wrong button to the wrong button, and here we are. Oh. No. It's just, what? Is it not letting... Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Come on, game. Okay. No one cares about this rewind, cycle up. I don't know if you've noticed in this collection, but you can rewind your time, but like, who needs to rewind? All right, let's just start from the start. All right. B, Y, X. And I don't know why this one is giving me such trouble. Yeah. Okay. Huh. Well, that's more into the intros. That's more into the options menu than you'd ever want to see in your life. But you know what? Hey, at Ashgabat Cat, we're all about those extras. Okay. So I thought I was losing something by playing in hyper scoring mode. But as it turns out, there's no continues anyway. That's fine, because this game is actually well-tuned enough that honestly, it just kind of makes me want to play like this sort of score challenge thing where if you die, and if not, then you get a retry, and then you go for it again. Because again, look at the enemy density, or rather lack thereof. There aren't that many, to be honest. Ooh, oh man, but then, oh wow. It's kind of funny, because like, they do a lot with what they have. There aren't a lot of enemies, but the ones that are there are, I wouldn't say they're like annoying, but they're noticeable. Like, it's not like a lot of shoot 'em ups where they just toss a bunch of enemies. Oh. Once you get up to the top of the screen, that's just pure danger. You were just rolling the dice. And it's like, will I die now? Will I die later? Ooh, let's see how many minutes it takes me to die. But will I die? Most assuredly, yes. But they're very efficient in how they use their enemies. Because, like, well, it's kind of like in Pac-Man. Because in Pac-Man, you've got, like, what, 4 ghosts? And, I mean, if you're any sort of, like, modern-day arcade gamer, you're just like, oh, 4 enemies on screen? Pfft, whatever, man. I can handle that in a second. But the thing is, you can't. Because each one of those 4 enemies is fairly formidable. Well, I mean, in Pac-Man, yeah, admittedly, you can't actually defeat the enemies, but the point is, each one of them is gunning for you, and each one of them is relatively smart about it. It's not like cave games where, like, they just fill the screen with enemies just because you've got to have stuff to combo off of. And if you don't, then there's just no point to it. But that being said, like, they give you a bunch of stuff to shoot, but, like, what do those enemies mean? Nothing. You're playing pro gear, and it's like, you're just mowing your way through. You can even set to the automatic homing attack button, and then it's just, you're just mowing through waves and waves of enemies. Not a care in the world. Whereas you're playing this game, and it's like every single enemy you have to pay attention to. See those 2 little buggers, like, trying to loop around me? They're gonna ambush me from behind. And it's like, I can't ignore them. I can't take my eyes off of them. Except I have to, because I gotta see where I'm going, but then that means if I'm going to keep my eyes off of them, then I'm going to have to keep on moving. And I mean, yeah, sure, seems like circular pattern is the dominant pattern. Seems like I can just totally do this, no problem. But at the same time, like, I still have to keep some attention to them. And then the shots. Like, the shots are just perfect for being just a little annoying, but not, like, a lot annoying. So the weird thing about the shots is they're not, like, really aiming for you. In fact, it's actually kind of strange. It's almost like they're trying to cut off your movement. And I mean, that's actually something you see a lot in bullet hell shoot 'em ups, where enemies will shoot at you, but, like, they won't really be shooting at you. They'll be shooting at where you want to go, or where you could go, or just basically anywhere other than where you are, just because they know that if you make any sort of move, then they can get you. Because, I mean, okay, it's a 2-step process. They shoot where you're going to be, then they shoot at you. Your lizard brain is like, okay, I'm being shot at, I gotta move. So you move, and then they already cut off your escape route. And now you're dead. So you gotta think a little bit ahead. Or you gotta master the circular pattern, one or the other. Also, one little bit of trivia. Apparently these little windmill guys are called Yasashichi. And they're in the little loading screens in this arcade collection. So, I mean, this arcade collection's got little loading screens, and yeah, you see the little windmill guys, and you're like, ooh, what are they from? You look it up online, you're like, Vulgus. Oh, Vulgus, what's that? Sounds a little vulgar. And then you boot this up, and you're like, oh, hey, there they are. Nice. I understand that reference now. Does this enrich me? Do I feel changed as a person now that I know where these little windmill guys come from? No, admittedly not. And you know what? I'm kind of glad to have known. It's interesting peering at like a whole company's history. You get to see like their ups, their downs, their XXs, their pro gears, and there's a lot there, honestly. I don't know, I was just watching Cornet play Maka Maka, because I mean, you know, she's not going to stream every single day, you gotta fill the downtime. But she's playing Maka Maka. It's this like very old JRPG. You look it up online and they're like, yeah, it's kind of the worst JRPG of all time. Well, you look at the fine print and it's like, well, like the guys who were making it, they kind of ran out of money halfway, and like either they release it in this very incomplete state, or don't release it at all, and it's like, well, which option do you choose? It's like the option I would choose is not to have to choose, but they had to do that option. They released this very incomplete, very, I would say, kind of bad game. But what's interesting is that game's boss theme is totally rockin', and it just kind of makes me think that it just kind of gets you thinking. It's like, huh, this is a terrible game. This is a game I would not even wish my enemies would have to play, if only because then I would have to verify they actually suffered enough playing it, which would be suffering in and of itself for me. But like in this game that otherwise you would think has no redeeming value, it has a redeeming value. It has boss theme. It's got a pretty rockin' boss theme. Why did I go into that? So what is up with these 2 out of 9 guys? They just kind of show up. And oh, do you think this is... Oh, maybe that's why I'm getting such flush cash. But then once I beat my 9 tries, then it's like, nope, no more sweet Caspo cash. Oh, I love that this game gives me like a ranking to shoot for. It's like, ooh, Vulgus, what's a good score for that? Well, to rank on the boards, 80k. That's all it takes, not a score more. But, most assuredly, not a score less. No, it's back to 1. It was at 2 for a while there. Is it tracking my progress? Is this just like, so I can keep VODs or something and people can just watch? They're like, oh, I can see at a glance, he's only at stage 1. That means he's a noob. Whoa, this dude made it to stage 3. He's a super pro. Is that really what we're going for here? The best thing about being a streamer is being able to talk out loud and to sound things through. And then, if you say something right, your chat will praise you. And if you say something wrong, your chat will correct you. And either way, at the end of the day, you'll know more. You'll know more. Sometimes you'll know more about the dark side of human nature and the tendency to just contribute to something even when you have nothing to say. But by gosh, you'll know more than when you started at the end of the day, before the day. I don't know, man. They're shooting at me. What kind of commentary do you want? You want some Proust up here? I don't have any Proust to offer. This is all I have. This is my Proust. Pretty good though. I'd say. I don't know. Would you watch this? That's a funny question. You already are. Let's not get too existential about this. Anyway, wow. They are just so lazy with their shots. Like, sometimes they shoot at me, sometimes they don't, but it gets me every time. See that cheap little guy coming from behind. I'll play to 80k or until I can't stand it anymore, whichever comes first. You can place your bets right here and now which one you think it's going to be, but I'm going to let you know smart money's on me getting annoyed a little bit. Yep. I don't know, there's just something existential about this though. Just on a nice Saturday morning, you just boot up Capcom Arcade Classics, and you're like, okay, let's play through them all in chronological order. Let's not play through them all in a row. I mean, I only have one Saturday here, not a whole week. But you just kind of just see what it's got. It's like, okay, game, Vulgus, you haven't impressed me yet, but maybe you'll impress me more as we play along. As I say, yeah, okay, I'm kind of impressed. I mean, maybe I'm easily impressed. This is not the first time I've waxed poetic about a no-name arcade game, but I can feel it. I guess all that's left to now is to get that high score and on a high note, and I don't know, play this next game. Yeah, that is kind of makes you existential. It's like, huh, what am I so hot to do? Why do I want to quit playing this? Do I really want to play the next arcade game? I'm just going to be in this exact same situation. I mean, yeah, it'll be new. It'll be something I haven't seen before, but at the same time, end of the day, I'll still be playing an arcade game, trying to beat a score, trying to see how far I can bet, hoping and praying that the game has a continue feature. Thank goodness they all have auto-fire features. In fact, that's actually a standard feature built into the game itself, and so don't have to worry about that. What am I talking about? I've got auto-fire on my controller. But anyway, the E's. What do the E's do? I mean, I know E's is a very good gameplay series, but playing this, I mean, what are those E's? Whoa, that's danger and a half. And yet somehow, I don't feel over... Okay. Yeah, I was digging this game. I was thinking, oh man, this game is so fair. Oh, these enemies are so slow. There's nothing bad. And then they take the enemies from that Namco game. What is Xevious? They start throwing Xevious at me. And I mean, Xevious is nice for being literally the first shoot 'em up that's not Space Invaders. But then here, well, okay. One thing I very dislike about Xevious are those stupid wall enemies, because they just come at you and you can't defeat them. Now here, these wall enemies seem to give you a fighting chance where you can like shoot them beforehand, and if you kill them, then that's it. No more wall enemy, you're good. But then if if you're incapable in any amount, shape, or form, and you don't defeat them, bam, now you've got a wall to contend with. Something that sucks up your shots. You can't defeat them, you can't move around them, they're just there. They're just hanging out on the top of the screen. Why? Why do you exist? I'm too scared to look at my score. I'm too busy playing the game. Isn't that the ideal state of any video game? I bet I have 80k now. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I'm too busy playing the game. No! 70k! 70k! I could be at 80k. Oh, I got 3 lives. 3 lives, 70k. I don't know. You want to bet on me thinking I'll get 80k? Well, things are looking good, but that's the thing about arcade games. When they go wrong, they all go wrong in a hurry. Easy. Easy peasy. Huh. And all it took was to just be quiet a little and play through the game. Kind of makes you think that this whole entire series was a little bit ill-conceived. I mean, a person talking over a game? Why would you do that? That's seemingly unnatural. And yet, this whole series was born out of the just sheer fact that I just wanted somebody to be talking over the game. I didn't think through the consequences of this. And again, this was back in, like, I don't know, 2010-ish, where nobody had really done this. Streaming was not a thing. How was I to know that I would cause this complete evil? I am, of course, taking credit for all of modern-day streaming. That's right, I invented that. But still, like, who'd have thought it would have turned out like this? Probably anybody who thought about it a little bit. I mean, come on. You put a game in front of somebody. I mean, you've heard people talk. You've heard people play games. You put them together, and it's like you just get a little bit worse at either one. Sometimes they can talk about the game, but the thing about the games aren't that entertaining after a while. I mean, well, at least these sort of games. I mean, what kind of commentary am I supposed to say here? That guy looks like a crazy bat, but now he's a triangle? And it's like, I don't like those bat-like triangles. I guess I could taunt the enemies. It's like, man, you guys are not putting up much of a fight. And it's true, but I don't want them to be putting up that much of a fight. What this is right now is normal. Oof. Yeah, I tried to outrun that guy, and it turns out he was just that ever little bit faster. You know, I ran to moan, but I don't want this to end. This is just like the zone. Wow. Oh, there's more. Jeez, but it's like, you see that. You're just chased by 5 guys, the shots everywhere, and yet... Well, upload that score. Nice. Nice. You know what? I'm going to bestow this game my highest honor. I'm going to play it after... I don't need to play it anymore. After I've already proved what I wanted to prove, I'm just going to keep on playing this game, because you know what? This game is very agreeable in just some way. I don't know, fundamentally it's agreeable. If this were a person, they look kind of normal. They wouldn't be hot, they wouldn't be ugly, but they'd just be just kind of a normal looking person. Would they be a guy? Would they be a girl? Well, you know how it is with people. 50-50. Make it half one, half the other. Just right there in the average. Man. It's just so smooth, I guess. I don't know, because you play Galaga and it's like there are exciting parts, there are the boring parts, but you play this game and it's just one giant part. Well, okay, there are some breather sections, but they don't feel like breather sections. It feels like there could be enemies there all the time, but you know what? It doesn't really matter. Enemies, no enemies, screen full, screen empty. It's like, it's just kind of a nice, chill experience. Huh. Yeah. You just put out a game like this, and it's just nice and chill. I mean, what's there to say other than play this game and you'll reach video game nirvana? And the best part is, like, I already know there's some good games in this collection. I mean, Pro Gear. I literally started a channel on Pro Gear. That's entirely an exaggeration. Pro Gear was, in fact, the first game I played on this channel. I wouldn't say I created this channel specifically for Pro Gear, although I guess it's not an exaggeration to say that Pro Gear, being the first game that I played on my channel, is arguably the game that started this channel. But like, that you're getting this level of quality, and it's like we're just playing the first one, chronologically speaking. This is like the one game in, and already this is like wooed my heart. What more could be in the future? Admittedly, I think I kind of overplayed my hand. I'm getting a little bored of this. I don't know, just something about having to talk over and not being able to fully concentrate and give this game the love it deserves. Yeah, Ashgabat Cat, it really is more about, like, just kind of credit feeding and just kind of lazily seeing what's in a game, while at the same time, arguably not paying any sort of price to do it. And yet here, this game is just, it's kind of good, and I honestly feel, a little bad just, like, credit feeding. This is the kind of game where it's like, you spend a whole month just playing this game, nothing else, trying to learn its secrets. Why? Because, I mean, you already beat Pac-Man. Galaga got boring. What else are you going to do with your life? Well, again, I'm assuming this is 1985 that we're imagining yourself in, and you're just kind of playing through arcade games, because, again, that's, like, basically the only kind of a game there are. Like, what? You want to play on the Nintendo? What's that? That's not invented yet. You want to play through the Atari? No, please. I will pay money not to play on the Atari. Well, what's left? I guess Vulgus. Sounds weird, but it's not a bad game. You just gotta give it a chance. Oh, you saw that line of enemies coming at me. There was no way that was going to end in any other way, and yet, in my hubris, I thought I could take it. I could not. Your score did not reach the threshold. But you know what? That's fine. My score reached the threshold at least once. Well, I can't speak for you, the audience, and I don't know why you, the audience, watch these games, but I know why I, the player, play these games. Because there's just something about, oh, if I go to start game, then you can see the game full screen. You don't have to start the game just because you're watching the game. But look, that's a good life lesson. You just watch the intro of a game. It's like you don't have to play the game just because you've got the intro playing up. Ironically, I was going to talk about the point of me playing these games, and that is, well, in fact, to play these games. I mean, here I am, uneducated rube I am, I bought the Capcom Arcade Collection, and it's like, oh yeah, there's my favorite. There's Pro Gear, there's Gigawing, which is pretty good. Admittedly, I like some of the sound effects more than I like the game itself, but it's a good game. But what about these other games? Pfft, whatever, they're extra. The canon. The canon. The canon. Oh my gosh, the canon. Well, I was going to say, the reason why I do this game experience is because I just want to experience all of it. The canon. Check it out. Okay, lower right hand corner, that's how much canon I have. You pick up powers, you get more canon. But, when those enemies line up, hint, hint, when those enemies line up, bam, you cannon their butts. That seems way cooler in thought than it is in actual practice. Now that I've seen this happen, it's kind of, oh, the big enemies! Because I was just thinking to myself, okay, using the cannon to shoot through a wall of enemies. I mean, it's a cute idea, but it's not like I couldn't shoot through that wall with just my regular gun. And honestly, I'm going to give this game some props for making your ship powerful enough that you can just blast through enemies even with your regular starting cannon. But, oh man, the big cannon. Huh. I guess maybe you could have some fun routing the cannon shots, but honestly, I don't. Okay, the cannon was not such a draw. But anyway, and I guess I don't need to be on the intro screen to talk my way through this, but the reason why I play these games is to just actually experience it out. There's just something about recording yourself talking over a game that makes the experience real. It's like, okay, if you want to record yourself talking over a game, you have to actually fire up the game and talk over it. I mean, it sounds kind of simple, but it kind of isn't. You gotta bring out the recorders, you gotta spend the time, and I mean, yeah, you gotta give you guys a good meaty episode, 30-odd minutes or not. And so, well, you gotta play the game for 30-odd minutes or not, and well, that means you gotta actually play the game for 30-odd minutes or not. I mean, I'm saying the same thing over and over, but like, that's the thing. You're actually playing the game. You're actually interacting with it. You actually understand what Vulgus is more than what you get from like a Wikipedia description. You actually see Vulgus. This seems like a very odd thing to be bragging to you guys about, considering that you're just watching me play it. You're not playing it yourself. Not playing it yourself along with me. But if you're not, I gotta ask you, why not? I mean, the Capcom Arcade Collection, it's basically a no-brainer buy. You gotta buy it. I mean, yeah, they're just emulating this using MAME code, but you know what? That's all I want. I never wanted anything more. Maybe I could have like certain score thresholds beyond under which, like, I know that my life is a lie and I'm not worthy of submitting my score. Hey, it's got that in spades. And so honestly, yeah, sure, this game is worth it. And so why aren't you playing along at home? You don't have a Switch? Okay, I'll give you points. That is a pretty good excuse, not having a Switch. But eventually, this game is going to be released to PC. I mean, you know it. The Capcom... When has Capcom ever not released a game? Capcom's middle name is money. I don't know what their first or last name is, but their middle name is definitely money. Yeah, Capcom's going to release this sooner or later somewhere. You should probably buy this. And you know what? When you do, I dare say you should give Vulgus a shot. I mean, if you've made it this long, just solely watching this gameplay. I would assume, of course, that you're entranced by my commentary, but I think we all know that's not exactly a lie, but it's also not exactly the truth. It's this strange combination of gameplay and commentary that works so well, thus just vindicating my original dream. But the gameplay has obviously entranced you to some extent, so you know what? Make that gameplay yours. Why don't you play through all the games in the Capcom Arcade Collection in chronological order? Okay, I can tell you why not, because some of them are going to suck. And you know what? I'm going to be the one to tell you which ones suck and which ones don't. Just watch the rest of the series, and you'll see. But you don't need to watch the next episode in the series to know that Vulgus is actually... It's actually kind of good. Okay, let's go back to that original chill mode. Just kind of watching the game through. Is there music? Has there been music to this game the whole time? I have not been hearing any music. Maybe that's a fault on me. Maybe I'm just getting old, but I did not think there was any music to this, and yet there is quite a fair bit of music in this intro. Okay, I'm going to turn up the music. Okay, so basically what I'm hearing is the rhythmic shooting of the main ship, and like, if you turn the sound up all the way, you can almost hear the makings of a song underneath. Almost, just barely. You gotta strain your ears though. Well, that was Vulgus. I did not know to expect this when I came into this game, and yet, now that I've seen it, oh, that's why you use the cannon. Whoa. Do you get Mondo score points by just shooting them all regular? Pff, who needs the cannon? Okay, so you get 1,000 for that. You just get 1,000 for that. Alright, what about the weird bat guy? by in a way, the least efficient way to destroy them. But by Jove, will it destroy them? Yeah, at the end of the day, that's what Ashgabat Cat is all about. Booting up the games and just, I don't know, watching, seeing what happens, just having fun. But also, honestly, truly experiencing these games. And so, well, here's Vulgus. It's probably not going to end here. I hope I can at least get 2 games in. I'm probably going to get more games in than that. And also, I've got the Sega arcade collection, and that one has an arcade stick included. So I am double jazzed about that. But for the time being, I'll have to pretend to be jazzed about this, as I play through Capcom Arcade Classics Collection. And as part of that, I've played through Vulgus, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Well, on that note, this cat's got a scat.